ProfessionalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Frivolity, our daily brief, TRI's daily brief here. Oh, I do see the top of my head is, well, I guess we're okay there. My hat might be a little bit cut off on the top there. I don't know that you can see that, Chris. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Welcome back to the show. Probably maybe half-hour summary. What we're seeing in the marketplace, I keep moving in and out, and unfortunately for Chris, my chair is up and down, and as a result, the camera picture is not ideal. But then I'm far away from the microphone. It's like I'm torn. Oh, what do I do? Anyway, no big deal. Today is Tuesday. Tuesday actually is our day with our CTO, Stuart, on the call on the Afterparty show today. Hey, Stuart, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everyone.
There you go. So he's all ready to go. And actually, he was telling me on his crypto portfolio is up about 30% on the year. So congratulations, sir. Nice diversified basket. And what I actually asked him for the after party is if maybe we could take a look at some of his most preferred crypto names. And I would highly suggest, if you do want to make a bunch of money here in this coming bull market, should probably top out in like November 25 or so. Maybe start building positions here in 23. It's not a bad idea. I guess we have today also is Tuesday, which is our stock pickers club meeting tonight. David O, a little bit under the weather recently. I hope you're doing better. I don't know whether he'll watch this or not, but anyway, he's a lot of fun to listen to. And I noticed one of the stocks in the stock pickers club meeting just went crazy today, which is kind of typical of these little junior stocks. Every once in a while, they pop up violently. The one du jour we were just talking about here on the March 21st meeting, HTCR. Look at that move. Boom. This is why people like to play the penny stocks. Unfortunately, I didn't get in on this, even though you can see just tons of W's all over the place. Not quite sure why I didn't get into it, but anyway, it is what it is. But congratulations to TRIers, anybody on the site who did take advantage of that. Nice trade. Way to go. Actually, there's there's a number of different conversations that we can have, but for this summary video, I'm supposed to try and follow a bit of a regimented plan. So why don't we start off with Once Upon a Time in a Land Far, Far Away. I do like to show you guys this. I think it's a good habit to get into if you are sort of a day trader. And really, you can do this for position trading. If you're like a little old lady, I don't know, this might be a little bit overkill for you, but definitely people who fancy themselves day traders should probably get yourself into a routine like this. And I kind of wanted to demonstrate this. And if anything, I had a few people ask if maybe we could do like a boot camp where we get together for a week or two in person. And I just sort of walk you through building out all of these different spreadsheet reporting sheets. And how you just go about trying to build your plan. So anyway, hopefully you've seen that I've been operating off of this page recently. I am going to say right off the bat, and I'm going to repeat this in the after party show, I'm a little concerned that I'm hearing people are taking the courses, but not really putting the time and effort. And if anything, I'm almost a little worried that we're making our exams a little too easy. And people are sort of floating through. I had a conversation with somebody who was technically in the level 3 program yesterday. and they couldn't even identify what a reload zone was, which was absolutely shocking to me. So I'm very, very concerned. And, we had a bit of feedback there a few weeks ago, same sort of thing. Somebody, I think, came on the site, took our education program, was expecting to be told what to buy and what to sell. And I'm active in the marketplace, but I've said repeatedly in these videos, I will never tell you what to buy or sell. Sometimes I go on hot streaks where it's just like I'm unstoppable. Other times I go through periods where you can't trade out of a wet paper bag. It's just the way trading goes, and it's incredibly individual. So I don't know whether our community is really understanding how serious of an endeavor this is to actually, build a trading plan, follow the plan, build all the supports that you have to have in place to execute these plans. If anything, the one good thing that I heard from this conversation yesterday was they were getting serious about their paper trading. And I tell every single person on this site, and I would tell all of you in the public, you really have no business trading live real money until you have vetted setups, which means at least 20 mistake-free trades. And you actually see desirable results, and those are all paper trades, no real money. So there's the one good thing I heard yesterday was they were getting very serious about their paper trading, and that's good. And you have to do it. You don't have any choice. So anyway, I think I want to reiterate that message consistently with this audience. You have to put the time and effort in. And you can't cut corners in this business. Absolutely can't. So anyway. Okay, so what was my morning routine? Computer equipment. Actually, computers doing pretty good lately, I gotta say. I was having computer problems there about 4 or 5 months ago. We got a couple new pieces of hardware. Things seem to be operating fairly well. So that was a good thing. Put myself on a little bit of an exercise routine. It's a very small routine, but while my coffee is brewing in the morning, I go through about a half a dozen different exercises: push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, squats, planking, the whole thing. Actually, I'm feeling pretty positive about that. And diet's doing pretty good, so feeling good about that. Sleep has been a bit of a challenge for me past little while. You can see, and when you do these kind of journaling things on a daily basis, you can really see where the problems are in your life. And, my sleep has been challenging lately. I did have a bit of a semi-holiday yesterday, so I did see a bit of catch up, if you will, in the marketplace. Crude oil jumped up a bit. Bitcoin, crypto jumped up a bit there, rallied back up into resistance, and now sort of as soon as the adults came back to play, things kind of settled down a little bit there. So if anything, really good lesson there about sort of these funny holidays. Yesterday was a weird one. I think next week is the sort of civic holiday for the Americans, and sometimes they do that as well. We're different than everybody else, so we're going to have our holiday 1 week different than yours. But anyway, so the point of the matter here is coming back to sort of business, full market activity. And also we had a fairly big econ there first thing this morning of purchasing managers. I think it was a PM, well, it's PMI. I think that's purchasing managers index. But anyway, it's they keep changing these names over the years. Anyway, so first things first, what did we sort of see today? European market seems to be calming down a bit. Euro area private sector growth slows down. And actually, it was interesting as the morning sort of progressed, and then the U.S. econs came out. U.S. private sector growth strongest in 13 months. So you can clearly see we have like a divergence. One part of the world's going one way, another part of the world's going the other way. And I might argue that we had this situation, and this is what usually happens, right? We are now back into the greed cycle, And that, ironically enough, officially changed in 2018. We had to go through the recession, and conveniently, they created this sickness nonsense to sort of mask all the sort of recessionary bailouts that they were going to have to do, which usually happens. Like the rule is recessions usually happen in years that end in eights, nines, zeros, ones, and twos. So, what a coincidence. We had this sickness just injected. And keep in mind, the Chinese nonsense there. I mean, whole cities that nobody lives in, the buildings are half built. I mean, it's just total joke. I would make the argument that half of the sickness was manufactured to cover up the fact that China's real estate bubble burst, and the whole society should have collapsed there. And I mean, it's basically deteriorated into a totalitarian dictatorship now. And if you listen to guys like Peter Zahn, China's days are numbered. And actually, I even saw another article today where they're saying that basically China's days are numbered. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. So very strong North American data, but the issue here in North America is, well, it's the data is so strong that actually it's quite inflationary. And then on top of the fact that the data, the actual sort of anecdotal evidence about the economy, keep in mind the U.S. economy has basically been in the tanker for the past 20 years. It's in the face of an incredibly socialist sort of government push recently, not only in the United States with Mr. Biden and of course all the socialists there, but in my country, substitute drama teacher, socialist kind of stuff. So you put a really strong economy and governments that want bigger governments, they want government to grow as well as the private sector growing. And what a surprise, you get runaway inflation here. That doesn't surprise me at all. Having said that, I did hear another Fed governor here today say that he expects two more interest rate increases. So that's sort of why the stock market, even though, and this, if anything, is a really good analogy, and you guys should write this down. You've probably heard me say this once or twice before, but if you haven't, please write this down. What's good for Wall Street is not always good for Main Street, and vice versa. What's good for Main Street is not always good for Wall Street. So here's a really good example where what's good for Main Street is not so good for Wall Street. What the hell's going on? Chris, can you hear that through the recording? Some idiot's honking his horn. Yeah, that's pretty irritating. I'm on the 19th floor of a building, and you can hear that. It sounds like it's right outside my window. Jesus, drive you crazy. All right. Anyway, looks like it's dealt with now. The data coming out of the States is actually very strong, I have to say. The big sort of econ headline is today, of course, is this global services PMI. Oh, what the hell's that? U.S. global services PMI increased, blah, 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 blah. The rate of growth of activity was fastest for just over a year, with firms linking to upturn to greater demand from new and existing clients. New orders rose at the fastest rate since April 22. New exporter orders grew for the first time in a year and at a solid rate. So this is, and this used to be called the Purchasing Managers Index. I don't know whether it still is, but basically it's a commentary on the sort of the economic engine, not necessarily. Thanks, yeah, Cole. You're buying into a bubble, you idiots. But I mean, you say that and we have problems with inflation right now. Does that look like an economy that's slowing down? That Fed Chair Powell says that we got to slow things down here and bring that inflation rate down. Does that look like it's slowing down? Doesn't look like it's slowing down to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got higher rates. And of course, and I think I talked to you guys about this in the weekend shows, the broiler chickens. If we look at what is the market's reaction, we should always follow the euro dollar market for short-term interest rate path. This doesn't look good. In fact, actually, this used to be called the TED spread. And when the TED spread gets above 100, we got trouble, right? And of course, a few years ago, and you saw all these crazy banks down in the States all declaring bankruptcy down in the States and all that crap. So it really shouldn't have surprised us to see that with these readings above 100 here on the euro dollar market. We actually went through a period where the Fed started to get religion, and the euro dollar market, which is basically the corporate interest rate market, or basically the market, it started to calm down, right? And the spread started to come in, but you can clearly see this spread has started to W out, which is saying that the market is still very concerned about inflation, and the Fed is getting a little bit slack. And you see that spread starting to rise. We're only at 0.41 now, right? When we reach 1.0, that's when we got trouble. So at 0.41, that's not the end of the world, but you know what W's mean. If you've been watching and listening to us for a while, you should know how to interpret this. This is not a good sign. And I can understand in this kind of context why that Fed governor would come out and say, hell, I could see we're going to have to raise interest rates at least a couple more times before we're ahead of this. And you can see the euro dollar market is making new lows, which is increase higher interest rates even just today. So just be aware of this, folks. This is where the data itself, I'm a huge fan of, and actually this would be a good little piece for your journals. How does the saying go? How can you tell when a politician is lying to you? Anybody know the answer to that? How can you tell when a politician is lying to you? Close. Nice, Zon. So, yeah, very well said, Constantine. Excellent, Nore. All right, very good, Richard. All right, you guys are learning. So this is, I'm not going to listen to any politician because they're all liars. They all lie constantly. It doesn't matter if it's the left or the right. They're always lying. I'm going to listen to the market. And are there market-based proxies that are going to give me, people vote with their wallets. And, big hedge funds vote. They have just bigger wallets than us, but people vote with their wallets. So this vote here is, we're not done raising interest rates, and the economy is still very strong. I've said repeatedly, I don't think actually the United States is going to go into recession. How can you have a recession with this kind of data? The purchasing managers are going apeshit here. So that's not recessionary. And if anything, what should happen is the US Federal Reserve should keep cranking interest rates up, and the whole global economy should roll over into recession. And they should break the back of all this, these upstart countries that actually think that they're in competition with the United States. But anyway, that's a commentary, probably more for after-party shows. But anyway, I think that's pretty important information given the data that just came out here today, corroborating this idea that I don't think the Fed's done. You see the stock market's trying to, it lifted when it saw that number right out of the gate. It was just like puke out central. Ugh! But you can see it's sort of the Dow tried to get back to the flat line, and you can see tech is still kind of underwater. Now, why would this happen? And I think the answer is energy here is very, very strong today. So Exxon, Chevron, bunch of energy stocks. And actually, interestingly enough, the crude oil market is starting to point up in earnest here, which is not good. Because if I go to the daily crude oil chart, this gets a little scary now. Because hopefully you guys have worked long enough with me. You can hopefully see this is basically a bull flag, eh? So here is your flagpole. And there to there, boom to boom. This is your flag. So there's your flag. And if we break out through the top here, then what should happen is we should just basically replicate the pole up top. So it's like a B, C, D. So that means we're going back up to $80 a barrel here on this darn thing. Boom! Because obviously I drive Liam around a good 3 to 4 hours every Thursday and Sunday. He likes to, that's his sort of escape from the institutional hell. And obviously that's going to hit our pocketbook a lot harder. So anyway, interesting to see crude prices are pushing higher. And they always say, again, this is the kind of stuff I don't know whether you call it alpha or beta, gamma, delta, whatever the hell you want to call it. But the old adage is that the stocks always lead the commodity. So if you see that, the two biggest energy stocks in the world are just booming here, that's probably a tell that energy prices are moving higher. I don't think energy prices are going to new highs, and I don't think it's sort of like, oh my God, double, triple digits crude. But at the same time, too, it was often nice to see the price of energy come down. It was technically deflationary, that should sort of calm the markets. But if anything, our little conversation about the Eurodollar market and what they see, they probably see this too. And they're like, well, that's inflationary, so interest rates got to go higher. I suppose so that's sort of like the econs, and you could argue maybe that to a certain degree that's your news sort of summary for the day. I do find it fascinating. We're in one of these kind of, let's try that again. Old economy, actually slightly up on the day. New economy, down on the day. Of course, NASDAQ, and I've told you guys this before, NASDAQ usually in tech usually moves opposite with energy. If you've ever heard my conversations about the energy market and the purchasing manager's choice, do I spend money on energy? If energy prices are low, then I'll spend money on productivity and grow profits. So I think we're in the middle of one of these, for quite a while. And actually, we even had a tweet recently that really showed that really well. I'm a big fan of the weekly key reversals. And we had a whole bunch of weekly key reversals in tech land. This is about the middle of March. And then the old economy names, they're all getting punched out. I think we're probably going to see a little bit of a backfill here now, especially if energy prices start moving up. Old economy should outperform, new economy should pause. Well, it's interesting how Bitcoin, what time is it here? Yeah, we're coming up into the last 5 minutes. So I'll probably just do a quick circle around, take a look at the corn, and then head off and listen to what Stuart's got to share with us here today. Actually, I didn't get around to it, but actually, we had an interesting trade in the opening range trade here in the futures markets this morning here in crude. Was able to clip the market for a couple bucks here this morning. And actually, this is a really interesting anecdote. I had an opening range trade set up short for me, although Chris, I think, had a long, so I'm not quite sure. I think I might have screwed this up today. But anyway, you can see I hit the market for a couple contracts in there, worked the market down. And actually, this was fascinating because 2.618, good old Foggenbaum. I would have thought we would have traded to that. And you can even see where my 2-to-1 should have an AOCO order working, which I did. And the market actually came down and tagged my level, but I never got a fill. And there's actually, I've heard a few people in crypto talk about this recently. Keep in mind, CZ over on Binance, he could trade all around you and he doesn't care at all. Um, and it's an unregulated market space. So you got a problem? Go screw yourself. I don't care. I remember, when I think it was BitMEX with Arthur Hayes. I mean, it was almost comical how he used to just totally screw people over on that site. But anyway, the point here is that because this is a regulated market, if I could actually show a regulator a trade on this market here, one tick, in this case, it was a buy order to cover shorts. So one tick below my level, I'd actually be guaranteed the fill. But if it trades at your level, too damn bad. So I was a little bit bummed about that. Then we had the PMI number come out. And as this thing was getting closer and closer, there is a rule. And if I was like prop trading or something like that, the prop trading guys like Johnny Hoagland, I'm sure you guys are all getting to know him now over at Top Step. He would be freaking out. Cover your positions, cover your positions, cover your positions, right? So I just simply said, look, I don't want to give a bunch of money back in case this PMI number comes in strong. So I'm just going to move my stop down to here. And I got stopped out on that move. And it sure enough, what do you think? Was that a good idea to get the hell out of that short? I think so. So anyway, maybe a little bit fortunate here today. But then, and what I usually do is I usually go through my 4-hour charts and I hunt levels. And actually, I got to say, this isn't a bad place to be hunting a top here in crude. I was a little worried about that really, really big bull flagpole, but it's interesting how we came up right up against this level here, and then they just stopped her on a dime. They would not break her through this top. So I don't know. We might just roll over here because we did have a smaller ABCD trade location. And I really, like when I woke up and I was doing my spreadsheet, right? I go through, just to give you, and I'm supposed to be talking about Bitcoin right now. It's just so much to talk about. I never get around to all the stuff I want to talk about. But I like to go through on my 4-hour charts and just hunt levels, crude oil, gold, and stock market. And when I woke up, we weren't at a trade level, but you saw they ratcheted the market up on that PMI up into the trade level. So I could now, but when I first woke up this morning, I did not have a trade location on the crude. We were sitting here. So we jacked our way all the way up here. And now actually I do have a valid trade level. But I'm a big fan of hunting for divergence and Willie Stupid at my levels. There's the spike higher on my 3-minute, and you can see nothing developed for me here. So I couldn't really do anything. It's too bad because there was a really, really nice bear div, Willie Stupid on that top through that opening range trade. Then the PMI number came out and the market just jackknifed higher. So, and you can even see after the PMI release, I said, all right, I will keep my eyes peeled. If I can get this kind of pattern to come in, I'll hunt a short, and it just never developed. So no div, no Willie Stupid, no trade. And that's been kind of the hallmark of today's market. Really, really messy. If anything, in the gold market, we were kind of joking about this, Chris and I, this morning. This was an interesting level. We came down into some 2.618s. When I woke up, we were here, so there wasn't a trade location. But through that PMI and all that, there was an interesting level that set up there. But maybe if you guys are interested, we can delve into these levels in the after party show. But I think I'll probably leave it at that for now. Good old Bitcoin. I don't see a heck of a lot of change. I did put a tweet out the other day that said that for price to really punch through these two moving averages, that's a hell of a lot of support in there. There's going to have to be some really nasty news headline where people are just shocked and the price just cranks through there. And we just never got it. We got the price, it's stabbed down. This is a weekly price chart. So you can see 1 week, 2 weeks. And then, of course, this is our week here. We just started out of the gate. Right now, all we have is an inside bar. That's it. It's just an inside bar. And if anything, as good old technicians, what we probably should be looking for is good old reload zones. So boom, there is the reload zone up there. a test of these highs, it wouldn't be outlandish. It really wouldn't. Um, and, excuse me. And we had, based on the position trades, we had this big three-step setup. Where is it? There it is. Three-step setup working away. And I don't really see anything to do here. I'm just going to leave the position on. Of course, I have to risk all the way up top here. Like I said, probably going to get some sort of reload zone counter trend rally. So you can see there is the reload zone up top there. Notice there's 2.618 off of this Foggenbaum. So a rally up into this area wouldn't surprise me. So this position could very easily be underwater for a bit. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. As well, too, but the interesting thing is nothing's happened here, right? And I'm allowed to move my stop to scratch at this 50% tag. There's really nothing to do there. And I have to continually risk all the way up top here, which might translate into a fairly substantial loss on this. It's just trader's life. We did have lower time frames because remember, this is AB thinking CD, which would take us down into these levels. So we did have some lower time frame short sort of patterns working. And they're under attack right now. But interestingly enough, you can kind of see, well, we'll get to that in a second. But there is the counter trend rally that we saw overnight. But fascinating. The whole point of the bot is you want to have 3 lower highs to work with. So here is that setup on KuCoin. So 1 high, 2 highs, 3 highs. This is why I insist on 3 lower highs. So overnight, all we did was we counter trend rallied as soon as we sort of came back from that funny holiday session yesterday and rallied right back up into the original topping pattern here and kissed this trend line from the underside and then just stopped. That's it. We just stopped. There's lots of crypto news floating around. I heard another exchange is blowing up here. People were posting in the lounge. I do like that about the TRI community. Fairly sort of hip and up to speed with what's going on. Lots of FUD in this space right now, of course. And then, I love these kind of headlines. Crypto giant Binance commingled customer funds and company revenue. and here we go. But the issue here is unregulated industry. Nobody gives a shit. The Americans and Canadians, just as sort of US's little cousin, they pretty much do whatever the Americans do. They're going to kick all of these guys out of North America because of this horribly corrupt behavior. But in an unregulated industry, so what? It doesn't really make much of a difference. But nonetheless, lots and lots of fun to keep you attuned. And if anything, this, believe it or not, actually is a 3-bar fractal fail. This is a 4-hour chart. Boom, boom, boom. So actually you have a little bit of a sell signal that just fired in there. And this really shouldn't surprise anybody if we take this low and we draw it, say, back up against that high. Oh, what a surprise. That all came in a reload short zone. So top end of this smaller range, we were at the bottom end of the range, back up to the top end of the range. And we're starting to show a little bit of exhaustion. And I might argue that, as the stock market goes, crypto probably will go. So, as I had said earlier, NASDAQ, tech stocks, a lot of people have seen a lot of correlation with tech and crypto of late, and also too, purchasing managers. If you see the energy market booming higher, that's going to take the bid out of tech. So you put the two together. Would it surprise me to see Bitcoin take a bit of a pause here up against all these highs? No. And anybody who is trading the bot, your stop's supposed to be above this third recent high, which is up there at what does that number say? 27,666. Is that an accident? I don't know. Who's driving the bus here? So really, there's nothing to do. You're underwater on this bot setup and just twiddling your thumbs. Maybe your stop gets hit, maybe it doesn't. Yep. Yeah, okay. So we're basically up there. I'll just finish off with this final thought. Um, and actually, this is a good dovetail into what we're going to do with Fjord in a bit. I'm still very, very interested in buying crypto, and I will just be sort of like a Hoover vacuum, just hoovering through the year, just buying as much as I possibly can. If assets double in price, great, I'll let them have some. I was actually lucky; I was able to get off a double off on this thing. If anything, I got to get the orders to buy back working again. There are a number of names that actually look to me to be coming back down into buyable windows, and sort of just going back and reviewing spreadsheets. Um, there's a bunch of stuff I want to buy. So I want to buy this little guy here, the LIT. I want to add to that trade, EOS, POLS. I want to buy some more of the Doge. I want to buy some more Monero. Want to buy some more Zen. Want to buy some more Cello. Want to buy some more Ocean. Want to buy some more OMG. You can see, I mean, I'm just an open page. So you all know exactly what I'm doing. I want to be a buyer. So I did find it interesting. May, June seasonally is usually a crappy time of the year anyway. Actually, this is a really good anecdote. Probably, I'll just make a really quick reference. Somebody actually told me yesterday and showed me specifically on the site. This is a great reason why I like the website and our community, that this idea is dead. And there's VGX. They're actually in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So I'm a type of guy that I'll eat that humble pie. I certainly don't want to have an ego about all this. So I actually went and just liquidated the ad trade, and just said, what, it's not a good idea to throw good money at bad money. Somebody shared this with me. I posted it on the site. I actually averaged down because this is like little old lady, just sort of 1% buys. But then when I saw this note, and thank you if you're watching this later on, whoever that was, I just said, you know what? I just liquidated. I bought some, and I saw what the commentary was, and I was just like, I don't need to be in here, so I just blew it out. And that's just the way trading goes, right? I mean, you got to build a plan that you can follow. I didn't really like this the tone, so I was like, you know what, just get the hell out of there. I still have a few coins left on the Ledger wallet. This was the ad that I liquidated, and of course, it'll cost a whole shitload to move these coins over to the exchange to liquidate them from the Ledger wallet. So I'll go down with the ship if I have to risk, and it's $16 on top of that, so like $267. If I have to take a punch in the nose for that amount, so be it. If this thing does counter trend rally, and who knows, Binance maybe screws around with price, I'll hop off then. But for now, I think I'm going to limit my loss at that. But it just goes to show, I mean, geez, this trading game is up and down like a horse drawers, as they say. Um, so I'm pretty active, and actually, I really want to hear what Fjord is really interested in. I'd like to add those to the portfolio as well. And as I sort of said there a moment ago, I had a chart of the total crypto market cap. This is an L Tangonator setup. Had a bear div, Willie Stupid, M in price. It's working away. There'd be no reason to touch this. But if you were sort of new money and you were thinking about, oh, I want to join this trade, as long as this image persists, and we'll see how this ends. I mean, maybe crypto craps out through the day and this unwinds, but as long as that image remains, you can see this is a W that's trying to confirm here on the MACD. This means that the market is in bullish divergence. We had lower lows in price, but higher lows in the MACD. So our rule is, if you see this and you're a bear, you probably ought to just cool your jets. Doesn't necessarily mean this is a buy. Doesn't necessarily mean that this short won't work. But adding new money to shorts and adding new money to your bearish bias right now, I don't think that's a good idea. So and I have said repeatedly, and I'll finish off the video with this, that I believe that we are going to actually counter trend rally. Who knows what the hell this is going to look like? It's probably, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's crypto, it's probably going to be something like this. But I do believe that we are going to rally into the next FOMC meeting. That's what the market likes to do. We've seen it repeatedly. And then if we are going to get a serious dump into that end of June, beginning of July weekend event, it would be following that FOMC meeting. So that's sort of, you're like, Brian, make a prediction of what's going to happen. Well, I actually think that's what's going to happen here. So get ready for the fireworks. All right, let's head on over and have a conversation with Stuart here today. You're welcome to join us in the after party. I think it's hugely valuable, and we got a lot of feedback. People really, really like these after party shows that we do. So, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no wooden nickels. You remember what your number one job is. All the best, and bye for now.